Jai Hind students, a very mesmerizing morning to all of you. How are you all? I'm missing you all very badly. Okay, today in our online classes, we are going to discuss about another chapter in grammar, that is models. What are models? No, don't get me wrong. It's not about that models who wear fashionable clothes and do a ramp walk. No, we are not talking about those models. We are just talking about the models in English grammar. So let's start. Before starting, I would like to tell you about models. What are models? Models, these are, you can say, assistant to the principal verb, because they help our principal verb, and they do not have their own existence. They are not complete by themselves at all. They require principal verb to complete their meaning. But what is it exactly? Models means model auxiliaries. They show what? They show us about the mood of the speaker. They tell us what is the mood of the speaker at the time of speaking, what is the manner, in what tone the speaker is telling us something. Okay, so it shows us like what is the mood. For example, the request, the speaker is doing a polite request, or it's taking permission, or it's showing a kind of an obligation. Okay, so these are can be explained. All these can be explained through our model verbs. So let me tell you three main rules of starting a model. Okay, so before going into depth of the models, let me tell you three basic rules which you should know with the models. And what are these? Let us quickly see it. Models, these are called auxiliary verbs which always require a principal verb. Without principal verb, model is having no existence. Also, models always take verb first form. For example, I can do it, they can do it, she can do it. It cannot be like I can did it, she can did it. No. If you are using any model, it will always take the first form of the verb. The third rule which you need to remember is that models do not change their form. They never change their form with any subject. In our tenses session, I told you that with I we will take the first form of the verb, like I play. But with he, what it will become? He plays. But here it's not like that. Here, because I told you that model auxiliaries never change their form, it will remain same with every subject. For example, I can, she can, they can, he can. It will not be like I can and she cans. No, it will be a big mistake, right? So keep this in your mind. Now, let's move forward. Okay, so as I already told you, model is a type of verb that is used to indicate modality, that is likelihood, ability, permission, request, capacity, suggestion, order, and obligation, advice, etc. And most common models are, can you remember? Yes, you are right. Most common models are can, could, may, might, shall, will, ought to, dare, must not. Oof, the list is long, right? So, now let me tell you what is the use of these models. Okay, so models have the following common features which I have told you. Models are never used alone. They are always used with a principal verb. Like he can climb a tree. So he can climb a tree. In this, climb is our principal verb and can is used with it to show the mood of the speaker. The second one is modal are always followed by the base or the first form of the verb. Okay, like I can play sitar. So play is our base form and we are using can. Or you should work hard. Okay, so work is our first form of the verb and we are using should with it. Now let us move to the modals. So the very first modal which strikes our mind when we talk, that is can. Can. And can is used to show ability, suggestion or a request. Let me show you some examples. Okay. See here, the very first model which we are going to discuss is can. So what is this can? The use is, it shows ability of the speaker, okay, suggestion, if you are giving any suggestion to anybody, or request. Okay, I'll show you some examples, then it will be more clear to you. For example, for ability we can write, I can play basketball. What does it show? It shows the ability, right? I can means I have the ability to play basketball. Now for request, can you make some coffee for me? Can you make some coffee for me? What is it? What am I doing here? Can anybody tell me what am I doing here? I am doing a request. Okay? It is a request. And the third one is, I told you, for suggestion. How can be used for a suggestion? Just see this example. You can call a taxi. You can call a taxi. This is our suggestion. Means the speaker is giving a suggestion to the person he is speaking with. You can see here the three different forms. Can for ability, means I have the ability to play basketball. Can for request, and can for showing suggestion. Right? So can is the for request. Can is used for informal requests. Okay, like when we talk about our friends or a well-known person, then we use can. Otherwise, the formal way of the formal model for using for request is may. Okay, so I hope the use of can must be clear to all of you. Let us move to the another model. Okay. Okay, so now where do we use this modal auxiliary could? Modal auxiliary could, you can see on the board, I have already written for you, is used as the past form of the modal can. Okay, for polite request and to show the possibility. To make it easier for you, let me give you an example and then it will be easier for you. See the example here. She said she could pay for you as well. She said she could pay for you as well. If you can observe the sentence carefully, you can see that it is in past tense, and here we cannot use can because it is the past ability. So what we have used? Could here. Okay, so you can see the use of could as past form of can. Past form of can. Okay, now the second use is could the second use of could is, could you please lend me this book? So here we have used could. We could have used here can also, may also, but we have used here could to show that we are doing a very polite request. So that's why we have used could. If it would be a formal conversation, we would have used may. If it would have been a informal conversation, we would have used here can. Okay. So could we have used to show you that it is a very polite request. The third use of could is possibility, to show the possibility. It could be that he missed the train. So here this statement, the sentence is showing a very possibility that he, whosoever it is, has missed the train. Okay. So the use of could is to show the past form of can, polite request and possibility. Now let us move to our third form of modal auxiliaries, that is may. May. This modal auxiliary is used to show what? Okay. So may be used to show possibility, formal request or permission. Right? Let me give you an example. It may rain tomorrow. So what's happening here? When I say that it may rain tomorrow, that means I'm showing a possibility. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether it will rain or not. But I am showing a possibility. There might be clouds in the sky, and after seeing them, maybe I have said that it may rain tomorrow. So I am showing a possibility. Okay. Let me write the use first of all. May is used to show the possibility and formal, it's request, formal request or permission. Formal request and permission. Permission though you must be knowing, right? Because you all take permission in the class. When you enter the class, what do you say to the teacher? What do you ask to the teacher? You do like this, now, ma'am, may I come in? So what are you doing at that time? You're taking permission. You're taking permission. Okay, you are making a request that, ma'am, may I get in? So why are you saying may I? Because teacher and students, they share a formal relationship. Right? So that's why we say may I. We do not say can I, could I, right? Okay. So now let me give you an example. It may rain tomorrow. Okay. It may rain. It may rain tomorrow. So what is it showing here? It's showing possibility. How do we know that it is a possibility? By seeing this word modal auxiliary. Okay. Now another example to show you like that how we can use may for formal request and permission. You can take the same example. May I speak? May I get in? All these examples. May I speak, ma'am? What is it? It is a kind of a formal request or permission. Formal request or permission. Okay. So this is the use of our third modal auxiliary, may. Now let us move to the another one. Okay, so the next comes in our list is might. So where do we use this word might? Might we use as the past form of may and to show the possibility in any sentence. For example, he said he might change his mind. He said he might change his mind, because it's a past tense. Okay, so it's showing the past form of may here. So the usage is as past form of may. Now the second usage is the possibility. So how can we use it? For example, your purse might be in the living room. Let's take the example. Your purse might be in the living room. So what is it showing here? That your purse might be in the living room is showing possibility, that there is a kind of a possibility that you have kept your purse in the living room. Now, if you remember, when I was telling you about may, I told you that may is also used for possibility, and here if you can see, might is also used. We are using might also for showing the possibility. So what's the difference? Where to use may and where to use might? May is used to show the stronger possibility, whereas might is used to show the weaker possibility. I hope the difference must be clear to you. Now let's move to the another model. Now let's see the another model verb, which is shall. So where do we use shall? Shall in English grammar is used when I and we is there as a subject for future tense. You all might be knowing this, fine. Now let us move to the second usage, which is very important as a modal verb. So where do we use shall? You can see here on the board, I have already written it for you. To show compulsion, to show certainty, to show threat or any kind of promise, offer and wish. I have written few sentences here and I want you to quickly find it out, like in which sentence carries which which quality. Which sentence is showing compulsion, which sentence is showing certainty, which sentence is showing threat, offer and promise. Just read these sentences which are written here on the board. He shall carry out my orders. If you can read this sentence, this is our principal verb, which is carry out, carry, and shall as a modal verb we are using it here. So it is showing here compulsion. What is it showing? Here it's showing compulsion. Okay, that speaker is giving some sort of order which the listener has to follow. Second sentence, if you run fast, you shall catch the train. What this sentence is showing you? If you can see here, we have used if, agar. If you run fast, okay, we are showing a condition. If this condition will be there, it will be fulfilled, then you shall catch the train. So what does it showing here? It's showing certainty. That it's very sure that if you run fast, you shall catch the train. Third sentence, you shall be fined if you do not finish your work. Means what we are doing here, you shall be fined if you do not finish your work. We are threatening someone. Okay, we are threatening someone. So this third sentence is showing the attribute of threat. Now next sentence, if you win the match, you shall have a holiday. Okay, if you win the match, you shall have a holiday. It's a very pleasant kind of a sentence. What is it showing to you? It's showing a kind of a promise. The speaker is making a promise to the listener that if you win the match, you shall have a holiday. So which attribute this shall is showing here? Promise. Okay, to show the promise also we use shall. Next one is, and the last one, shall I bring a cup of tea for you? What is it? Shall I bring a cup of tea for you? What is it? What do you think it is? It is of course an offer. I am making an offer. Okay. So these are some uses of the modal shall. Now let us move to the another modal, that is will. The next modal auxiliary is will. Will, as you all know, is used for second and third person to express simple future, like you will, he or she will. Okay. For example, she will sing a song. So we are simply using it to express the simple future, that in future she will sing a song. But when we use will as a modal auxiliary, the meaning changes. How? That you will get to know when you will see the examples. Will you, when we use this all together, will you, so that means we are using it to show an invitation or a request. You can see here in the example, will you come to tea tomorrow? That means I am inviting somebody to come to me tomorrow for a cup of a tea. Okay. So will you always shows an invitation or a request. Now let's see the different forms. Will is also used with the first person to express what? Determination, promise, prediction and resolution. See how? I will never tell a lie. What is it? I will never tell a lie. What is it? It is a determination that I have made a determination that now forward I am not going to tell a lie. If you can see second sentence, I will return your book tomorrow. What am I doing here? I am making a promise. Okay. So I will return your book tomorrow, showing promise here. Third sentence, if you step forward, you will fall down. With a condition, what we are doing? We are predicting the future. That if you step forward, little bit more forward, then you will definitely fall down. Last sentence, if you can see, we will eliminate poverty. We will eliminate poverty. What is it showing you? We are taking a decision that we will eliminate poverty. That means we are making a resolution. So these are the different forms where how we can use this modal auxiliary will. Now let me move to the another few modal auxiliaries quickly. Okay. Okay, so in our series of models, let us discuss about few more models. The another model which we are going to discuss is must and must not. Must is a modal verb. In other words, it helps give meaning to other verbs. Let's look at all its meaning here so you can avoid misunderstandings. Right? So meaning 1. What is the very first meaning? We use must when we want to say that it is necessary or very important. Where do we use must? When we say that it is very necessary or very important. Okay, so there we use must, right? For example, I must work hard on my English. I must work hard on my English. If you can see this expression carefully, this expression has an obligation that you place on yourself. Okay. Let me write the example also for you. Example is, I must work hard on my English. So what is it? It is an obligation. It is an obligation which you have put on yourself, right? So this is one of the use of the must. Now the second meaning of must, that we use must to give emphasis to an opinion. Okay, where do we use must? We use must to give emphasis to an opinion. I must admit it was a frightening experience. If you can hear this example, I'll write it also. Where do we use must? The second use of must is to give emphasis. To give emphasis to an opinion. Okay, so if I am saying this, that I must admit it was a frightening experience. So what am I doing here? We use I must admit before a surprising or negative comment. So what we are doing? We are putting emphasis, okay, on the statement it was a frightening experience, right? The third use of must is like it is a way of giving a recommendation. For example, we must go and see that film. I have heard it is excellent. So example of emphasis is, it can be anything, like I must say this food is delicious. I must say that this food is delicious. Okay, so this is the example of emphasis. Third is for giving recommendations. Also we use for giving recommendations, like if you want to recommend something to someone, there also we use must. Okay, there also we use must. Example of this is, we must go and see that film. We must go and see that film. I have heard it's excellent. I have heard it's excellent. Means somebody has told you that that movie is very nice, very excellent, you should go and watch that movie, and you are recommending to some of your friends. So there also we use must. Okay, must not is also another modal verb. Wherever we use must, if we feel like the same things are going over, like if there is a very important message, or if there is any emphasis you need to put, or you have to give recommendation but in negative form, there you will use must not. Okay, for example, you must not tell this to anyone, it is a secret. Pupils must not run in the corridors. So here must expresses a school rule, that it is a compulsion, right? So must, if you will say in in a very rough way, or in a layman language, must means a kind of a compulsion, right? So it is compulsory, you have to do that. So this is the use of must and must not model. Now let us move to the another model. Now if you can see here, our second model is ought to. What is ought to? If I can explain you in simple words, ought to, it's little stronger than should and not as strong as must. Means it comes in mid of should and must. Okay, these three are used to show a kind of an obligation. Should is also used for the same, ought to is also used for the same, and must is also used for the same. But must shows a stronger recommendation, should shows a weaker recommendation, and ought to comes in between. Okay, Let us see the examples. It will be easier for you to understand. The very first use of ought to is for giving advice to someone. Okay? For example, you ought to exercise more. Maybe some of your friend might be exercising on regular basis but not getting that good results. So after seeing them, you might have given him a suggestion that you ought to exercise more. So you are giving an advice. The another use of ought to is to show the probability, and probability also we use it to show the high chances. Probability may be like, there are weaker chances, strong chances, but where we use ought to, we use ought to show the high chances. For example, she ought to receive the package tonight. Okay, that means there are very high chances of her of receiving the package tonight. The third use of ought to is to show the duty. Okay, for example, you ought to have helped him. Through this example, you can see that there might be some situation in the past where you didn't fulfill your duty, and that is why somebody is saying you that you ought to have helped him. So this was the use of our modal verb ought to. Now let us move to the another modal verb, that is should. If you can see here, should. Okay, should is used to describe what is ideal, desired or preferred. Okay, should is used to give you to express the things which you think that it is really ideal and it should be preferred. So if you can see here, let us understand should with a situation, a context. The context is that the sales tax is 25%. The sales tax is 25%. And there is a boy, Rohan, who thinks that it's too high and it should not be that much high. So whatever he thinks is ideal, he will express that using this modal verb should. See how? The government should reduce the sales tax. It's too high. So we are using should here. Okay? So because we feel like it should be the ideal condition, so that is why we have used should here. Okay, so should is also used to advise, to give advice or to make suggestions. If you can see here in the example, there is a conversation going on between two friends. John says that I am exhausted, means I am tired because of something or whatever. And the Joe replied, you should go to bed. So Joe is replying to John and saying that you should go to bed. That means Joe is giving advice to John that at this moment you need rest, so you should go to bed, right? Third use of should is to describe what is likely to happen in the future. Let us understand this through a context. Suppose there is a scene where a manager is looking for Mark. Manager is asking John, where is Mark? He is late. And John replied, he should be here in 5 minutes. So why he used should here? Because it is likely, it is highly probable that Mark will reach the place, office, hotel, whatever it is, within 5 minutes. Okay, so to describe what is likely to happen in the future, there also we use should. I hope modal verbs must be clear to all of you. So these are few of our main models and the different attributes which they show we have discussed in today's class. I hope what are modal verbs and what are their usages, it must be clear to all of you. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.